Tonight, Sitrang makes landfall over Bangladesh with activity elsewhere ongoing. And now the latest around the wide world of tropics. Tropical Weather Bulletin for October 25th. Whilst we remain on code orange, the only thing active right now is Tropical Depression Sitrang, which made landfall over Bangladesh in the early hours of yesterday morning local time. Elsewhere, Roslyn finally learned what mountains are and has since dissipated, with nothing else active around the world tonight. In the Atlantic on day 147, we have two areas of interest. One invested in the name of 94L, which is the small area on the right with a 70% chance of formation. And we also have an area of interest with 30%, which I believe was not listed in last night's bulletin for some reason. Either way, it's back and better than ever tonight with a 30% chance of formation. After Roslyn's dissipation, nothing is active in the Eastern Pacific on day 164, once again marking the start of a well-needed break for this basin. Over on the other side of the Pacific, 93W continues to terrorize the region with its chances now at 80% within 5 days as it heads northwestwards. In the North Indian Ocean, Sitrang made landfall a few hours ago and has since weakened to a tropical depression over Bangladesh, marking an end to a name that we've been waiting a pretty good while for. Now onto the satellite imagery with the Atlantic. The first thing to notice is the 30% area of interest lingering off the coast of the Caribbean, to the northeast of the Caribbean I should say, with 94L to its northeast, and what looks to be a rotating mess as part of 94L. As a reminder, 94L currently remains with a 70% chance of formation according to our internal and analyst team and the National Hurricane Center as of the time of this recording. Now, Roslyn has completely gone with no traces left of it whatsoever as it crossed into the mountainous region of Mexico. Nothing else is ongoing in this part of the world. So 93W is heading northwest as it continues to terrorize the West Pacific with its 80% chance of formation, currently to the east of the Philippines, headed to the northwest towards Taiwan, I believe. And Sitrang, now a tropical depression over Bangladesh and soon won't be a thing. Elsewhere in this part of the world, it's business as usual with nothing tropical ongoing. So according to the models, Sitrang is done for, as the models do not expect the system to last that much longer due to shear once again shooting for the moon. Sea surface temperatures don't matter anymore as the system will not emerge back out over water, and mid-level relative humidity is rapidly declining for this system. 94L is expected to trawl along for a few days before seemingly gaining strength. The rest is beyond the 5-day point, so who knows what will happen after then. But back to the now, shear is on the rise and will get pretty strong before returning to Earth in a few days' time. Sea surface temperatures remaining just above the favourable threshold of 26 degrees, but not for long as they are expected to fall off a cliff in a few days. And mid-level relative humidity is also expected to climb to just over favourable levels, but it won't get much higher than that. So don't forget, you can go to our merch store where you can buy things such as individual animations, mugs, and most of all, pillows, which Nathan will proceed to throw one at me, adding to the amount of pillows that he's thrown over me over the course of this season. Also worth mentioning is our line of still waiting for Hone shirts, marking over 1,000 days of waiting for just one storm that clearly does not want to come out to the party, get high, get drunk, you know, all that sort of mischievous behavior, I should say. Moving on, the West Pacific remains piping hot with 29-degree waters with isolated pockets of 30 degrees here, there, and everywhere in this basin. The Bay of Bengal remains 28 to 29 with a bit of toasty 30-degree waters off the coast of Bangladesh. Just please bear in mind that Sitrang just went over those 30-degree waters, so they're not as prevalent as they once were. The tropical Atlantic remaining warm, with waters reaching 28 to 29 in the main development region, with a very, very small pocket of 30 degrees present in the main development region as well. The tropical eastern and central Pacific remaining largely 28 degrees, with small dips of 27 and even 26 degrees present in the region. Whoops, did not mean to scroll backwards there. The eastern and central Pacific are mostly above average. The West Pacific remains unchanged with warmer than average waters. The Atlantic remains mostly above. The Bay of Bengal also remains mostly above. The Arabian Sea is also, would you believe it, mostly above, but notable areas of below present in this part of the world. The La Nina is still taking hold of the equatorial eastern Pacific, and it's looking very, very strong. So oceanic heat content in the Atlantic is really prevalent in the Caribbean. The main development region, it's gaining energy, but little by little. But like I keep saying, it's getting there. It's just really, really slow. It's like a snail's pace. But meanwhile, over in the Pacific, on the western side, still remaining full of energy off the eastern coast of the Philippines, but it's not as prevalent, as I keep saying, as it once was. You can just travel a little bit eastwards of the Philippines, especially in the equatorial region. That's where most of the energy is present. But the further east you go from that point, especially towards Hawaii, the more you'll find the energy just isn't present there. It just falls off a cliff once you get past the area of Hawaii into the eastern Pacific, excuse me. So on this day in 2002, would you believe it, 20 years ago, our main feature was Hurricane Kenna, which was preparing to make landfall on the coast of Mexico as a monstrous Category 5 hurricane. Elsewhere in this part of the world was Tropical Storm Lowell and Tropical Depression 3C, which would soon become Tropical Storm Hugo. Nothing else was active in other basins on this day 20 years ago. Would you believe that? So that's that for this part of the bulletin. As you can see, the next names on the Atlantic naming list is Lisa, followed by Martin. Up next in the Eastern Pacific is Seymour, followed by Tina. And I'm just not gonna say the next part. What's even the point at this point? The next name in the Central Pacific is still Hone. So over in the Western Pacific, next name is Haitang, followed by Naoge. We could be seeing Haitang fairly soon. And finally, a little bit of difference here. The next name in the North Indian Ocean is Mandoose, followed by Mocha. That's all for, oh, never mind. The next name in the Australian region is Darien, followed by Ellie. Up next in the Southwest Indian is Chineso, followed by Dingani. And finally, up next in the South Pacific is Harley, followed by Irene. That's all from me for now. We'll see you for another Tropical Weather Bulletin tomorrow night.